In this basketball crazy state, and again when it was still one class system, it was a wonderful time, folks. It was the 1962-63 season. That's when the Ireland Spuds made a magical run all the way to semi-state before losing to the defending state champs, the Evansville Bossy Bulldogs. Well, to commemorate those incredible times and season for the Ireland community, Mike Roos has written a book called One Small Town, One Crazy Coach. And here to take us back to those most memorable and successful times for Ireland Spuds is the author himself, Mike Roos. Michael, what are the incredible stats in 1962-63? How big was Ireland? How big was the school?
Well, part of what makes this so special is the size of the town, the size of the school, and the size of the players, all of which were small. The town had about 400 citizens, and of course they drew from the county a lot of farm kids and so on came to the school. The school had about 120 kids. The senior class had in the range of maybe 25 to 30 students at the most. And of course the players themselves were small because there was no one taller than 5'10" on the starting lineup, and they were shorter than just about every team they played that year.
We see a picture of a guy not wearing his pants to say, this is the crazy coach, Pete Gill, crazy like a fox, huh?
Yeah, I wouldn't say he was certifiably crazy, but he was certainly beyond the pale in some of his coaching methods, his training methods, and his motivational stunts.
What now? Your connection. You were a young boy in Ireland. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I was 11 years old, and my father, Jim Roos, had been hired as principal in 1961. His first job as a young school principal there. And the team, the 61-62, had been probably the best team that Ireland had ever had in terms of its regular season record. They won 19 out of 20 games. They were coached by Jerome Stemfenagel. But like every other Ireland team before them, they were unable to win the sectional. Jasper, Huntingburg, the larger schools dominated that Huntingburg sectional year in and year out, and Ireland just was never able to reach that plateau. So Jim moved on, and my dad hired Pete Gill for the 62-63.
And it was a controversial hire, wasn't it?
It was. He was an outsider with very unconventional methods, and a lot of the townspeople were not really thrilled with what he was doing to their young boys.
When we come back, Mike's going to talk about that magic run, and also what it meant to the identity of Ireland, Indiana, and where you and I can get a copy of One Small Town, One Crazy Coach. We'll be back after this. And we're back with Mike Roos, author of One Small Town, One Crazy Coach. Again, we'll talk about the coach. We saw that on the cover. What prompted him to take his pants off at the end of a tournament?
Well, Pete had promised the players. I think it was kind of a very spontaneous thing that he said during the week before the sectional, but he said, if you guys win this sectional, which is, of course, had never been done by any Ireland team in the past, he says, I'll take off my pants and throw them in the crowd. That's what I'll do if you guys win. Nobody really believed that he would do it, but he was good at his word, and as you saw at their launch, we have video proof of that, right. That he actually did do it, and of course the photograph there.
And the excitement continued. Talk about the reaction in town on the two, after the sectional and regional wins. The town went nuts.
Oh, it was crazy. They blocked off the highways. They had beer flowing freely in the streets, provided by Aim Leinebach. It was crazy, and the state trooper had blocked off the traffic. It was unprecedented.
How important was it, Mike? And even to this day, it's still part of the identity of Ireland, is it not?
It is. The town identifies itself that way as the town that went to the Sweet 16. And the thing about the book that I've really tried to recapture is the fact that is gone. I mean, those small town schools are just almost non-existent anymore. And of course, with class basketball, that'll never happen again. So it is a long lost era in Indiana basketball, for better or worse.
Del Harris, the former Lakers coach, of course, coached at Dale and in southern Indiana. He said this was a much more accurate than even the Milan story. Why?
Well, it's real.
Which was the basis of Hoosiers, we should say.
I think what he meant to say was the Hoosiers movie, which is a fictional account of the Milan state championship, and there's a lot that was fictionalized in the movie. This is a real account, even though I've written it as creative nonfiction to read more like a novel. It's all actually true, and The characters are very interesting people. It's a people story, Mike. People will enjoy it on that level.
Okay, now, you've had a couple of book signings. You're going to have one this Saturday. Tell us about that, Mike.
I'll be at Barnes & Noble here in Evansville from 1 to 4 and signing copies of the book, and so come on down.
And also, you can find it online, can you not?
Yeah, the book is available on Amazon, barnesandnobles.com as well as amazon.com, and IU Press, which is the publisher, has the book available for sale on their website.
What's the best thing you learned about writing a book like this?
I learned that people's memories 40, 50 years ago can conflict and are very interesting records of what went down, and how to deal with that was a very interesting dilemma for me.
Well, we salute you, and folks, again, Saturday, if you're around Barnes & Noble, 1 to 4, right? 1
to 4
p.m. on Saturday afternoon. Mike Roos, author of One Small Town, One Crazy Coach. We're glad you wrote it, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, my pleasure.
You got it. When we come back,